r/AskReddit. What fact is ignored generously? Experience is not equal to competence. That we all have confirmation bias. In my studies I found that I do not. Oh wait, I controlled for my confirmation bias. Turns out I have the smallest confirmation bias. No one has a smaller confirmation bias than I do in the entire academia, and people come up to me and tell me I'm the most objective researcher and I write papers with the most logical conclusions and most rigorous models. No bias, they have the bias. But I have no bias. My bias level is tremendously non-existent. Prevention is more affordable than treatment. That just because someone tells you something is a fact doesn't mean that it is. Make sure to do your research. Humans overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what we can achieve in a year. Facts aren't opinions. I wish I could upvote this a million times. I'm getting really sick and tired of people who argue 2 points, where one is arguing from evidence-based facts, the other is arguing from a YouTube conspiracy video, and the second tries to take the high road with, you have your opinion, I have mine. No, you window licker. Person A has facts, you have idiocy. Being at a job for a long time does not mean someone is good at their job. Co-worker of mine used to say there is 10 years of experience and then there is 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. I like that saying. A lot of people like to mention the 10,000 hours thing, but fail to mention that you have to be actively trying to learn and better yourself for the majority of those 10,000 hours. Just because a movie or a book is good doesn't mean you like it. That's a good way to put it. You can appreciate that something is well written, good at engaging its target audience, etc. without actually liking the work yourself. The number of people who die after a war to consequences of war, hunger, disease, etc. are not counted in the statistics. Talking for France here, some people who died between the 9th and the 11th of November 1918 were not counted as dead these days, because that would be quite awful for a family to learn that your husband/brother/son/father died the last day before the war stopped. You think that's bad? In the War of 1812, there was an entire battle in New Orleans a couple weeks after the Treaty of Ghent was signed, because word hadn't gotten back to the US yet that the war was over. Over 2,000 people died. Oops. Just because it's legally allowed doesn't mean you're not a douchebag for doing it. Example, free speech isn't freedom from consequence. You legally can say, "Nah, whatever you want," doesn't mean people won't call you a dick for it. Just because some people are naturally talented doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard. Hard work can beat talent when talent doesn't work hard, as my undergrad advisor was fond of saying. But when talent works hard, it's game over. The importance of getting 7-9 hours of sleep every single night. To add to this, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is not the same as a 7 to 9 hour sleep opportunity window. If you're giving yourself a 7-hour sleep opportunity window, you are not getting 7 hours of sleep. Probably more like 6. Valid point. Mob mentality doesn't mean you are right. Everyone is a huge hypocrite when it suits them, including me. The irony of this statement is that if you're ever in a situation where being a hypocrite would suit you, but you aren't a hypocrite, then you are a hypocrite because you said you would be but weren't. My brain hurts. Human memory is extremely unreliable. We forget important details. We fabricate memories and convince ourselves that they're true. What we do remember is distorted to conform to our biases. When I was 5, my parents surprised my older sister and I with a trip to Disneyland really early in the morning before our flight. 4 years I had this memory of it happening and being so excited. They videotaped the whole thing, but we had lost the video for years. When we found it, I saw that I was actually asleep the whole time. I had completely made up the memory based on my sister and parents talking about it. Admitting to a mistake is not a sign of weakness. Bending over backwards to cover it up and pretending like it never happened is. It's in your best interests too. If you don't backquote on your mistakes, others will and may use them against you. Older doesn't always mean wiser. Wisdom is obtained from what you do with your time. It's not about how much time you've had. Just remember, stupid people get old too. Giving birth to a kid doesn't make you an expert on raising them, nor do they owe you for being born. A lot of people need to realize this. Way too many need to. You are not immune to propaganda. Fun word fact. The term propaganda originally referred to a Catholic Church committee for propagating the faith during the Counter-Reformation. This comment was brought to you by Big Etymology. Actually, propaganda comes from when a British person gets a good look at something. Had to give this poster propaganda before I understood it. Depends on the agenda of the people doing the ignoring. People only care about the facts that agree with them. Edit. Thanks for the gift, kind stranger. Nearly every hand you shake has held a penis. France didn't stop executing people by guillotine until 1977. And slavery wasn't legally considered a crime against humanity until 2001. Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. George Carlin. Great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ. Quitting is often a good decision. Animals are much more brutal than people realize. We only see the cute cuddly side on the internet. Cheetah makes friends with a goat, gets more views than warthog gets eaten alive by lions and lasts a surprisingly long time while it's happening. Animals will eat you alive if they don't think you're a threat to injury. It's out of survival. Something bigger and badder might come along, and they won't have eaten anything. No, the leopard didn't kill the animal before eating it out of compassion. It just didn't want to take a hoof to the head while it was having lunch. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I hate you. And conversely, just because I agree with you doesn't mean I like you. Being rich doesn't mean you're great with money or someone who should be trusted with business decisions. Or smart. People love to assume that. And being rich doesn't mean you have class. Seems like you reached the end of this video. Please like and subscribe for more, you magnificent human being.